Hello, and welcome to this episode of Hammering Down. I'm your host, Keller Hodges. I'm hoping you're having a great day. I want to go ahead quickly apologize if my mic doesn't sound amazing. My microphone in the middle of last episode just completely died on me, so I went back to an old microphone that doesn't sound as good, and it's a little spotty. So if it loses connection, and it sounds like all the audio is coming through my computer computer microphone. It's because it is. Hopefully, it won't do that. Hopefully, it'll survive, and hopefully, you don't notice too big of a difference. So, in this episode, we're going to do our first half as we're going to talk about the stadium. We're going to talk about Protective Stadium. We're going to have the conversation, and then we're going to go to a film study. If you're a YouTube watcher, the first half of this is going to be the stadium, and then there's going to be a second video with this same intro that is going to be the film study. So they will be two completely separate videos. And then if you're podcast, this is all one thing. So again, if you are watching the film study, this is the same intro as the stadium intro. So that's going to stay the same. So without further ado, let's go ahead and get into this episode. And we're going to start off with the stadium. I've noticed, especially after playing Rhode Island FC, that a lot of people did not appreciate the fact that one of the biggest attendances for Rhode Island came against Birmingham with a lot of our former players, and then Legion are still sitting in Protective. And there was a really interesting moment after Charleston where the Welsh firemen took over the stadium a little bit versus Charleston. The atmosphere was awesome. And I think a lot of people kind of got a taste of what a fantastic atmosphere was like. And it happened in Protective. And I'm just going to tell you this. There was nothing that the firemen did any different that Legion fans can't already do. I think the issue with a lot of what is wrong with Protective in terms of atmosphere is that everybody wants an atmosphere, but not many people want to create it. Okay. So, you had the Welsh doing like the big clap, right? There's no reason why the grandstand can't do that already. The Majesty Brigade does like the hammer down, hammer down, and like half of the crowd does it. There's no reason why the whole crowd can't do it every single time. I don't think there was anything that the Welsh did besides doing it that's different than the regular fans. All it takes is the regular fans doing it. So instead of just being a passenger, let's all get on this train and drive it together pretty much. But, if you would rather be more of the I'm here to watch the game, I'm not here to sing, that's totally fine and that's totally fair. And a lot of people have talked about missing the old atmospheres at BBVA. People who've went to some of the matches at Down at the Valley, you would know that the atmospheres are pretty fun. If you've been out to Montevallo, yes, even the Alabama soccer matches, Birmingham Southern, right? Those matches have been fun. The atmospheres have been fun because it's a smaller stadium, everybody's close together, and it feels more lively. So how do we get there? And I know everybody's going to say, build the stadium, build the stadium, build the stadium, build the stadium. Okay. And there's only so much you can do, right? Because if the club was just interested in building a stadium, they would go out to Chelsea, they would go way out into Leeds or somewhere else in those counties and say, we're building a little cheap stadium. They can do that, but they want to build it in Birmingham. And the issue with Birmingham is that's really expensive. And the places that people are quote unquote willing to go is rather small, right? And when we talk about, because I have a list of all the stadiums in Birmingham that are pre-built, so I'm not going to go through all the locations that Legion could buy because there's going to be conversations already. No matter what, there's going to be a subsection of the fan base that is not going to be happy, right? If we go back to BBVA, well, the field sucks again. There's no drainage, and if it sprinkles, then we can't play a game. That doesn't happen at Protective. Y'all remember how bad it was. We want to look back rose tinted, but yes, even I look back at the FC Tulsa game that restarted at like 11:30 at night, kind of fondly, but it was like me and 200 people at the game. Most people, when they saw rain was on the radar, didn't even show up to the matches because they knew that it was going to get rained out. That's the way it was. In fact, we played against Memphis 901 at Legion Field because the pitch at BBVA looked like a sand pit. It was closer to beach volleyball than soccer. That's just the truth of the matter. So when it comes to this field looks like crap and is completely unplayable and is borderline dangerous for players, there's going to be a subsection of fans who don't want to support that. When we look at places like possibly buying land at Birmingham Southern, some people will say, I would never go over there because I'm afraid for my safety. That's going to be a subsection of fans. If I were to mention building the stadium at the training facility down at the Valley, I would never drive all the way out to Shelby County to watch a match. This is Birmingham's club. That's a subsection of fans. So in order to appease everybody, you won't. You can't. And so I want to just kind of walk you through what's already built. And my criteria is it has to be a stadium that you can play soccer in and that you can have food trucks that can show up and they can sell alcohol. Those are my criteria. They have to be able to do those things. Why? Because some people will not show up to a match if they can't buy beer or if they can't tailgate beforehand. You know it's true. They're like, this is so minor league. This is so Mickey Mouse. I can't buy a beer at the game. People won't show up for that. So you have to be able to play soccer there. It has to be at least already somewhat established. And you need to be able to buy alcohol and then buy food, whether it be from food trucks or already built concessions. So with all that, we obviously have Protective Stadium. And in all reality, they're going to be looking at staying at Protective long term until an actual feasible stadium option in Birmingham pops up. That's the truth of the matter. Does it suck? Sure, because it's the BJCC. But I also want to remind you that if Legion build their own stadium and don't raise the funds primarily themselves, the BJCC will still run Legion FC Stadium. If the city puts in the majority of the money into the stadium, the BJCC will own it. So you're just going to be dealing with Protective, but smaller, which some people would be okay with, but some people wouldn't. Again, no one's going to be happy. So I have made a little slideshow. So if you're a visual person, it's all here. The bank, PNC Field, BBVA Field. The capacity is 5,000. So it is right on the line for the second division professional league standards. Hey, it's a great size. It's an awesome location. I think everybody would agree that the location was awesome, and we have fond memories of the place. The cons and the reason why it'll probably never happen, it did not end on good terms with UAB. It just did not. And the chances of Legion just buying the stadium out entirely is very slim to none. The only group of people in the history of mankind that has ever loved land more than expansion era of the United States government with manifest destiny is the UAB Board of Trustees when they see a patch of grass in the city of Birmingham. Right? Like UAB will never sell the land unless Legion come out with an insane bid, which at that point they might as well build their own stadium. The inconsistent pitch conditions. Unless they completely change everything and let Legion completely run everything, the pitch conditions are going to be bad. You have the men's team for UAB. You have the women's team from UAB. And then you'll have Legion also playing there. it's going to destroy the field. And we're going to be back where we first started. I think I saw somewhere that was originally a 7 or 8 year lease that Legion broke to get out of this thing. And right, and it was because the field conditions were that bad. Also, people don't really remember this. It was kind of far from the pitch. If you decide to sit close to the field at Protective Stadium, you are less than 10 yards from the game at all times. If you decide to sit in the general admission side of the stadium, you had the field and then like the touchline, you had a full like 3 to 4 yards before the ad boards, and then about 5 to 8 yards from the ad boards to the fence where they had people sitting. And then there was an entire sidewalk. So if you were in the very front row of the general admission, you were about 25 to 30 yards away from the action. That's pretty far. And I know some people say, well, when you're at the very top of Protective Stadium, that's even farther away. Yes, but you chose to sit there. They'll say, well, yeah, I chose to sit there because of the shade. There's no shade at BBVA. None. There's zero. If you're lucky enough to sit in the 5-foot overhang that's on the rich people seats, cool. I'm proud of you. But there was none, right? So you're farther away from the pitch, and it will not fit the current first division professional league standards, which currently require 15,000 seat stadium. I do think that's going to change. I really do. But 5,000 is not enough. Could they expand this up to roughly around 8,000, 10,000? I could see that. I really could. And maybe that would get you closer, but that would involve Legion putting in even more money to a stadium that they're not going to own. So would it be nice to go back and have close and have like that nice intimate atmosphere? Yes. But there's a lot of reasons why BBVA just wouldn't work. So what about Regions Field? And the stadium size is great, 8,500. The location is awesome, right on Railroad, like right by Railroad Park. You have good people brewing across the streets, and it's a great location. It's a baseball field. With baseball field comes inconsistent pitch conditions. You're going to be really far away from the pitch, like at all times. There is, other than what would be the right field wall, which it's going to be a very intimate atmosphere. And it doesn't fit the first division professional league standards because it's 8,500 people and it's a baseball field that I mentioned is a baseball field. That said, if you're desperate to get out of Protective Stadium and you say, we'll take anything, I don't think Regions Field's a bad idea. The whole putting turf on the infield, it can cause injuries, it can cause issues, it looks bad, and it causes inconsistent play. That's all really bad. That's not great. But if you are on the boat of anything but protective, I actually think Regions Field wouldn't be a bad idea. Rickwood Field. Okay. So just a little bit smaller than Regions. It's a great size and it's a historic landmark. And before you say, why will we ever do that? Actually, the Cosmos, which are coming back as New Jersey USL, they're coming back to play at a historic baseball field. And, you know, I believe it's Miles uses Rickwood as their field, so it does have consistent use. And it would be a nice tie into the community. I think that it would be really fun to see Rickwood be used constantly. And if Birmingham Legion FC want to be Birmingham's club, making Rickwood Field the field, I think it would be really cool. However, it's a baseball field. It's still a baseball field. Some people wouldn't like the location. They would say, I would never drive out there just to get shot for a minor league soccer game. While I don't agree with the location thing or the minor league soccer thing, people are going to say that. There's going to be a lot of people who would say that. So you would probably have smaller attendances for these matches, despite it being such an incredible location. It's also a baseball field, and it's not modern. Like, it's been modernized, but it's not modern. So a lot of the things that people have grown to enjoy about places like Protective with it, that's very modern, and like there's places to go with AC and all that kind of stuff. You're not going to get that here. But if you're looking to be very Birmingham, it is very Birmingham, and it doesn't fit the first division professional league standards, and there's no way to really expand it to fit it. It's just not going to happen. It's just going to have to stay a baseball field, as it should. It should stay a baseball field. There's no buying the land and making it our own outlaying. This is way too historic of a spot to do that. So I would be very against that in general. But if this was a temporary solution for Legion to build their own stadium, I think it'd be actually really cool. Legion Field. It's like Protective, but worse. It's not the BJCC. It's a historic landmark. Legion FC at Legion Field. Wow. And it fits the first division professional league standards. Huge stadium. The location isn't great. Again, some people would be like, if I go out to Legion Field, I'll die. Okay. It's not modern. It's been kind of modernized because of the like World Games and stuff, but also like it's Legion Field. And I put turf on here, but actually it's very similar turf to what we have at Protective, which honestly a lot of the players, including away players, seem to really like. Apparently it plays very similar to grass. It plays faster, but it's not very hard. Grass doesn't like the ball doesn't bounce higher, or there's not a lot of risk of injuries like there comes with old AstroTurf. So in terms of turf, it's actually very good stuff, but also like it's Legion Field. General Krulak, and I think that's how you pronounce it. This was Birmingham Southern's old stadium. Obviously Birmingham Southern no more. So if Legion were to buy this, it's probably fairly affordable if they wanted to go in on it and make this the home of Legion FC. It is very small. So it's about 1,600 people can fit there, which does not even fit the USL championship standards. The location, again, some people would say, I'm not going out to Birmingham Southern, I'll die. You're going to lose fans from that. You just will. I do think it'd be a nice location. I think there's a lot of stuff that you can do. I think you can build on the track. The track's not going to be used anymore. And if you wanted to use this particular location to build up to being the home of Birmingham Legion, I think it'd be awesome because it is at Birmingham Southern, and that's a staple of the city, and at least something would stay Birmingham there. And I do think that this, like the sports complex, would be affordable. Again, you'd have to build it up pretty massively just to fit USL championship standards, not even thinking about first division. Same thing goes from Goldfarb Field at Barrelson Soccer Park, I believe, which has one set of stands. Everything else is just kind of general seating. It's about 1,000, probably affordable. It's grass. It's actually decent grass. Legion played Tormenta there a few years ago in one of the worst matches I've ever seen in my life. You would have to build it massively. You would have to add in over 4,000 seats just to be USL championship compliant. And again, same thing with the other place. Location's not amazing depending on who you are, but I think you can build something special here. This is very similar to what BBVA looked like before Legion. This field is very similar to what BBVA was. And so if Legion wanted to have a footprint and build it up, they've already done it before. They've used this footprint before. They've done this. They've used this blueprint, not footprint. They've used this blueprint before. Small area, small kind of stadium, and build it up to fit the requirements. They have done this. This would be honestly my prime candidate if they wanted to buy something pre-established and build it up. But again, there's going to be people who would refuse to go to matches because of the location. Lawson Field, 7,500. Actually, it's a decent place to watch matches. If you've ever been out to an FC Birmingham match, it's actually a pretty fun place to go. The stands built into the hill is classic. It's very Birmingham. It's very affordable to rent. It is a very affordable place to rent. It's AstroTurf. In fact, I believe it's the old AstroTurf that was originally at Legion Field before the Olympics. So, like, it's old AstroTurf. It's rough. The locker rooms are awful. The facilities are not great for fans. Bathrooms are not ideal. You can bring up all the food trucks you'd ever want here. That's great. It has decent spots to set up cameras. It's not amazing, but you can do it. In fact, FC Birmingham sets up live streams every single week from here. It's possible. It doesn't fit the first division professional league standards, but if you're looking for a stopgap before Legion FC is built, like Legion FC Stadium is built, and you're looking for somewhere that's affordable, this is it. It gives me very Keyworth vibes in terms of it's gritty, it's kind of nasty, but if you're willing to deal with it, I think Lawson Field would not be awful. Honestly, it's again affordable, and it's honestly not bad for fans. I think it would actually be a decent location for fans to go to, so it's an option. The Hoover Met. Some people would love the location, some people would hate it, but I think that location's a plus. It's a great size. It's just under 11,000 at 10,800. And hey, the parking lot is great for tailgating. The cons, it's a baseball field, kind of, because sometimes it's a football field for Hoover, which means when the Hoover Bucks are playing there, Legion can't play there. And I don't know how much work it would take to tear all the Hoover High stuff down and put it back up. And I know they kind of do that with Protective already, but is that something you really want to deal with for it to be a baseball field? It doesn't fit the first division professional league standards, although it probably is close enough. I think that it would get a waiver, and you'd be homeless for every single SEC tournament. So that's already 2 full weeks, 2 to 3 weeks that Legion would not be able to play at home. And honestly, the best time to play there, which is the beginning of spring, and people are just getting out of school, or, all that kind of, I said beginning of spring, like the middle of May. So people are getting ready to get out of school. It's not too hot yet. It's not miserable. It is what it is, the Hoover Met. And here's the last one, Albert J. Sloan Alumni Stadium, which is Miles Stadium. I kind of like this option. I got to be honest with you. It's a great stadium size with 8,500. There's no renovations needed for soccer. They already have the lines already on the field, and you would sit there and say, football lines. I hate football lines. If you're looking for a stopgap location, it's not a bad idea. It's a small stadium that you don't have to renovate. You can bring in food trucks if they'll allow you. There's so much space to bring in the food trucks. As far as I know, you can buy alcohol at these games. And the things that would kill people, turf, football lines, location, people wouldn't want to go out to Fairfield to go to matches. Fine. And you'll be homeless for every Miles home football game, but you're already homeless for every UAB football game. If you're looking for a stopgap, I kind of like Albert J. Sloan Alumni Stadium. It's turf. You don't have to pay for upkeep. It's a great size for 8,500. Sellout game. Again, it's going to be one of the better attendances in the league. It's going to be a little bit better for fans, and there's no renovations needed. It's already done. You can just show up and play. If I'm Legion and I am looking at places to go, places that maybe I would like to use, I think Miles College, their stadium would be great. I think that for a year, Lawson could be okay, but not great. I think one of the Birmingham Southern stadiums would be an awesome fit if they want to buy and build. If this is going to be the home of Legion FC forever, I think the two Birmingham Southern stadiums would be amazing. And then the rest are kind of what they are. So if you're looking to buy, I think Goldfarb Field, which is the Birmingham Southern Soccer Stadium, or General Krulak, which would be the old football stadium. Or if you're looking, I think those would be the places to look at ready-made places that are in Birmingham. Or if you're looking for a stopgap, Albert J. Sloan alumni, which is, again, Miles College. It's not a bad idea. I think there's a lot of issues that come with building a stadium. Obviously, if it was easy, they would have already done it. A couple things that I would just want to remind people of. If the city of Birmingham or even Jefferson County pay a primary amount for Legion FC Stadium, the BJCC would run it. If Birmingham or Jefferson County pay for primary amounts of the stadium, the BJCC would run it. So there is that. If it was affordable to build in Birmingham, it would be done already. Just simple as that. So if you want the stadium built by, let's call it 2027, give them a full year to build the stadium, it's probably not going to be in Birmingham. I hate to say it, and that's going to lose fans depending on where you put it. If you put it not over the mountain, which is where a lot of the most influential fans are, those fans aren't going to come anymore. If you put it over the mountain, it's not going to be, quote unquote, in Birmingham anymore. And you're going to lose a lot of fans from that because this is Birmingham Legion, not Mountain Brook Legion or Vestavia Hills Legion or whatever you want to call it, Legion. It's not Shelby County Legion FC. It's not St. Clair Legion FC. It's not Coleman County FC. Thank God. That was an unnecessary shot at Coleman County. You can tell that I'm a Walker guy. But those are things to consider. Legion FC are between a rock and a hard place. It's just the truth. And everybody's going to clamor for BBVA, but it has issues. UAB is not going to sell it. They're just not. And if they did sell it, Legion might as well build their own stadium because it's probably going to take the similar cost, if we're being completely honest. So that's kind of my thoughts on the stadium. I wanted to just kind of fully flesh that out of possible locations for Legion to go that's not protective. And I saw I'd just let you guys know all that stuff. So if you are someone who watched this first episode that's on the stadiums, check out my film study that is going to be coming out right now. It's going to be on the YouTube channel. If you're a podcast player, let's go ahead and get into it.